What's up, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Bridge the Gap. My name is Holden Stephan Roy, and today joining me is the one and only Beatahoe, masked up and everything. Apparently, the mask is a long time thing, from what I understand. So,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
basically, with that, this is the show where we like to talk to interesting people such as yourself, and learn your life story so that we can extract some knowledge nuggets from you. And typically we have a much longer introductory question, but if we have a bit of a time limit, it's probably worth me, just kind of cutting it a little bit and getting a little more into the story. But for everybody to kind of understand where things are at, we like to take this back to like the very beginning, like when you're at like, your youngest era of life to start everything up. So if you can just let us know where you start your life and the very beginning point.
Wow. You mean like where I was born?
Yep. Like we talking
Yeah, I was
young
born
Beatahoe.
in a city called Sitsit. It's like 12 hours away northeast from Montreal. It's like a small city, like 30,000 people, you know. It's like a little mining city. It's like a big aluminum company and there's a
Mm.
big iron ore company and that's where I was born, man.
That's fire. So you're about out there, and typically I have a long convoluted story, and I normally don't do it so short. But the gist of it is, a lot of us as artists start our art journey story when we do talk on interviews and stuff at this adolescent point. Like we're like 12, let's say 11. We discover hip hop. We start making beats. We start writing. Because it's when we start to remember it and form our identity. But the truth about music is that music be this thing that really be around us, and the influences that impact us start from the very beginning. Like when you were born in a hospital, wherever you was at in that moment, there's a good chance there was a song playing in the room, and a little baby Beatahoe was kind of absorbing those energies, even if none of us remember that young. And I say that because I can remember being like mad young, being like in the crib in Montreal. My dad would have all these gray boxes around and shit with the wires set up for the little bootleg surround sound, the preamps, amps, tape decks, radios, all that good shit connected. And be busting like Led Zeppelin tapes, and at like nighttime you'd be playing that MC Mario Club mix, and my mom, she would be busting like disco songs and love songs and Disney's and musicals. And so like my
Yeah.
whole childhood, and you add in like the pop music and stuff, and it creates this giant landscape of music and sounds and things that really were being absorbed by me before I had any kind of control or influence in the surrounding around me. So I was hoping that you could like kind of describe being in like the little Quebec parts you was in, and just kind of like, especially because not all of us come from there, what it sounded like to be you when you were young, with regards to the stuff your parents would bump and the vibe and technologies of that, not being in like a big old Montreal or something like that.
Man, I guess for me it's like split because like when we went out, like my father, we all moved back to Montreal. I spent like 7 years in Montreal when I
Mm.
was a young teenager, so I had like the two places, you know, in my life.
But
So,
like prior to the
man,
teenage years, like real childhood stuff.
man, I think like because my father is a musician and he's a studio musician, so it was always around, you know. But it's like I didn't have any interest whatsoever in it, you know. Like I remember he would like I remember I still have memories of him when I was like probably like maybe like 8 or 9 when he would put me on his lap and he had this Roland the first Triton. I think it weighs like 18 pounds, like it's a huge Triton, and he used to program stuff on it. And he'd sit me on it and he'd be like showing me keys, but I was like it was like you know, like that was like not for me, you know, like I would just rather be outside and play sports or something, you know. Like all my music came I was absorbed in it, but I never cared. It just came in lately in my life, you know, like more late.
So like you were kind of exposed to it, and I guess by proxy of your dad learning a 1-2 by accident. But like outside of like your dad creating music in that regard, which is fire to know that that was all like available and around. Were people playing music a lot? What was like the main genres your parents would be bumping in the
Yeah,
in the car and whatnot?
man, like my father and my like my listen, I can walk in my parents' place anytime, and my father's gonna he can be in music mode, and he'll be playing guitar or the piano, and my mother's going to be playing the ukulele and singing. Sometimes they sing together. So it's like when they're like in like, but they're like more like a fun music mode, you know. Like they're not like trying to record shit. They're not like on the grind, you know. Like they're just like
So
fun, loving people who love music. That happened. They love all kinds of things, including music. So that was always around. Like the energy was always there. Like since the beginning, it was always present. You know,
So like your
and in the
parents were
car,
like the radio that the rest of us would listen to, because your parents would just be like busting out the instruments and just playing shit. So you didn't really like, I don't know, because most people would be like, yo, they had the vinyls or the tapes, and it's like you're like, nah, they just played the shit.
yeah, they would play, but it's like it's so special because they didn't really like mimic like radio stuff. They would just like like my father keeps it real simple. Like my father plays a lot with the Aboriginal group, and the guy would is constantly coming over to play music. You know, either to rehearse or either to create music. So it's like there was always like just like a small like how can I say like a little magic presence. You know, that
Right.
I couldn't really understand what it was, but it was always there. And in the car, they would listen to like Chris De Burg,
Mm.
Bob Marley, you know, just like really the Doors, you know, like really great music, you know.
That's cool. So they had like their own stuff, but just the idea of being surrounded by your parents constantly jamming out and shit is a wild experience. And then you weren't that interested in it, I guess, because did it look like behind you where you grew up, like all that country and openness? Because that's wild.
Yeah, yeah, we were always outside. I was blessed, you know. I was my parents, they were really good parents, man. They just we just roamed around our neighborhood, you know, like having fun, playing sports, whatever, you know. So I was really blessed, you know, like I was very lucky childhood.
And then you said you
Yeah.
came to Montreal at a certain point, but did you before that start to get into music yourself? Like, do you remember the moment when you started to fuck with music in a different way, where you heard a song and you're like, "Yo, this is my shit."
Yeah, man. Like I remember when I was maybe like 13, like I went to a show with my parents at like a festival, and I saw some guy like DJing on like I never like it was like what you know what is you know it was like so crazy to me, and I was blessed. You know, my parents like I told them I really liked that, and they saw that I liked it, so they bought me like a really shitty turntable, like it wasn't even like a belt drive, like a shitty like Gemini mixer, you know, like the ones that you're not supposed to buy,
I
and
guess I'm not
yeah,
such a
so it was
DJ
like.
guy, but I can follow the you got the shitty one, not the nice one that everybody wanted.
Yeah, so it's like it took me like a year until I got like decent on it, you know, because it's like I was just so whack. Because like when there's no like direct drive like buckle in the turntable, you can't really like get funky with it, you know. It's just like it's just too like heavy, you know. So when I got the good one, then I started getting a bit better, and that's really when I dove into the music when I was around 16, 15, you know, like I was scratching every day alone. I didn't really know anybody who was scratching. I just fell in love with it, you know.
And that's when you came to Montreal, right? Like, when did you come to Montreal? Like, how old were you?
Actually, it was that was after when I came back, so it was like a different yeah. So when I went to Montreal, I was probably like 8 or 9, and then I came back when I was like 16.
Mm. So you were in
Yeah,
Montreal when you got the turntable and went to that festival and stuff, but really started to develop it when you went back.
yeah, I got the those when I was back in Sitsit, so it was like during like mid-teens,
Okay.
but I was not like in making beats or like rapping. I was just like it was just like scratching like a intergalactic like 8 track was like the you know the god scratched dude, you know, and it was like I was like the model, you know, and it was like it was so crazy to me just to like learn how to scratch. And I smoked a lot of weed, you know. It was just like it was like a big weed smoking 6 years. It's like a blur, you know. I don't really remember anything from it, you know. That was the mission. That was the obsession.
So like,
And then that turned into skateboarding after, so I just let it go after that. I just started skateboarding, and that was done, you know.
so you just scratched by yourself in a basement. You started, I don't know about basement, but you scratched on your own in the middle of Quebec somewhere, just learning your shit by yourself out of the sheer passion of doing it.
Oh man, that was incredible. Like I even like that was my life, man. Like everything became that because it was like I remember I would scratch and then I thought I was getting all right, and then I would hear people like A-Track and it would be like 1,000 light years ahead of me, and I was like it blew my mind, you know, and I was like I got to get better because it's like my whole fuel was based on scratching, you know, and that's why I think that gave me an edge for making beats because it's like I listened to so many breaks and so many like beats when you're scratching, so it kind of gave me a bit of an
Mm.
ear because it's like I tried to be like a club DJ, but I was whack. Like I was horrible. I put an E40 beat like, and people would just stop and look at me. You know, it's like it never really worked out. You know, but like for the scratching, though, after all the years, like it gave me like an ear. You know, like this,
So
just
when
you
did
know, scratching is a wonderful thing.
so when did you try the club DJ thing?
I tried that when I was in university.
And so you had already. Where did you go to university out where you're at, or like?
Yeah, I went to university later in life. I went to Montreal. I went to Concordia.
What'd you study?
I was in residence. I was in residence for 3 years, and I was DJing. I tried to do parties, but I was horrible. Like I couldn't mix. Like my mixes were so bad.
So you're saying with regards to like the song like the choice of songs that you would
Yeah.
pick.
No, the choice of songs was ill because I never I was like I never like put like whack music. Like my music section was dope because I like good music. But it's like I never I never really because I was more into scratching. I put it
Mm.
aside like the mixing element, and mixing is like if don't do like a smooth mix, like it's gonna sound horrible. It's
So
like
this
when you
is
do
like
beat
when
to
you
beat
like
mixing.
adjust the BPMs and like blend the songs
Yeah,
together and just kind of make it so that the vibe is constant throughout the night.
yeah, yeah. Man, I was all right because like I always had like dope selections, but it was like man, it was like I remember like I just remember like I would like some people would call me and they would pay me to go to private parties and they'd just be looking at me like, why the fuck did we hire you? Can you swear on the show? Like I won't swear if you
Yeah,
like.
you can swear. I mean, it's
Yeah, like
completely
I
like
remember like I would go to a party and then people would like reference me and I'd go there and I'd be like putting on I'd be like putting on like this hardcore underground hip hop stuff like Rascal or like like Planet Asia or whatever and then people would be like we didn't hire you for this we want you to put like a Beyonce or something. I was like I don't have that record on me. I was like I'm not gonna play it. So it's like I tried that for like a year but it just didn't pan out.
yeah, no. I definitely appreciate that. Like, cause from what I understand, that side of DJing is very much read the room and give the people what they want. And it's really less about yourself. Like, there are ways to introduce yourself into that mix. I've talked to DJs who've explained it, but that side, I understand it being primarily like, what do the people want? Whereas, I don't even really know about the scratching scene. I know there is a scratching scene here, but prior to these interviews, I was super oblivious to that whole side of life. But I can see that being like the more technical, flashy shit.
Yeah, because you can scratch like scratching is crazy, man. There's so many combinations that you can do, and it's like it's just beyond And it's like for the DJing, like I should have been smarter because I could have made a bit of loot with that. It's like it's not like you're doing like heavy manual work or something. You're just like making people dance. So it's like I should have been smarter about it. But I was young and stupid, and I was like very selfish with my music. And so it's like it didn't really pan out. But when I think about it, I'm like, wow, like some people they get like a meal like that, like they DJ and then like they can get a meal and like tour and shit, and it's like that would have been a really dope life. But it's like I was always too self-centered. Like I didn't want to play stuff that I considered was trash. But then again, music is subjective. Other people like it, so why, who am I to, decide for somebody else?
Yeah, but it's also like in another way to look at it, right? Like you have your brand that if you're in music, it's all about the brand that you put out to the world, not necessarily in a negative sense, but you create your identity. And like you got to have principles with that. So if like you didn't feel comfortable doing it, you probably would not have done it right. Like
Yeah,
you won't put the time in if it's not fun. It might be a check, but like I'm like I can write, like I can like somebody can hire me to write some bullshit for their website, and I have zero passion for that, even though I could make serious bread on it. So I put like no time into getting those jobs. Like, that's just like you want to not necessarily like. Because like I heard you say something on Chop Vision where there's a lot of boring parts and like you got to do a lot of boring shit for the work you do, and I really like that you said that. But like you gotta have to love fundamentally what you do to go endure the
yeah,
boring
yeah.
parts.
Yeah, because there's like a million reasons for me or anyone else to just quit music because it's like it's like I love music and but I mean it just becomes like an annoying thing in my life because I have real responsibilities and stuff like everyone else. You know what I'm saying? And it's let's say tonight I'll go on some tangent. Maybe, like my wife's gonna be mad at me, and my kids. I won't be able to put them to sleep. Like, there's a lot of like things are happening, and I got to make some real choices. And it's like I'll always love music till my death. But it just becomes like it's just like it's a lot of suffering because you're just alone in that room. You know what I'm saying? Like, and you're just there like trying to make something, and it's like sometimes it's just garbage too. It's like it's not because you put a lot of hours in that it's always going to be like really good. It's not easy like that.
No.
It's hard, man. It's like plus I'm trying to come up with like different stuff, like the stuff like I did with California Ghost King. It's like or all the other artists. It's like I'm really trying to come up with original content, and it's like it's not harder. It's just like you gotta. It's just like you gotta get that energy. You know, you gotta find that energy. You know, sometimes it's not around. You know.
I definitely relate to that energy comment. Partly why I don't mind podcasting is because you can have completely off days and it's alright because you're just talking. So if you're off while you're talking, you just apologize and keep going. But music ain't like that. It's more like dating. You got to make that first impression like real proper when you're presenting it to the world and whatnot,
There
or
you
at
go.
least know exactly what you're doing with that impression. So it's like, and it is a lot of by yourself. Like somebody commented to me, like music sounds so social, and I'm like, I don't think you know how much time I spend in a room by myself yelling at a microphone. Like,
Yeah. Same with me. It's like everywhere I go, I have the MPC with me, and it's just like this machine around me. That's like I don't even know what it is. You know, it's just there. I'm just waiting for the energy to come in and to tap in. You know, and then I
mm,
open it up, and it's like I've always had that machine with me. It's like at work, at all the places I lived, I always had the MPC around. You know, it was always just there. So just when I think about it, I think it's so weird. You know, it's just like what is it? Is it, you know, what is this machine? Why do I have to bring it with me? It's not really doing anything for me. You know what I'm saying? It's not like it's making me like a meal, you know, or anything like that. You know, so but
mm.
what it's all good. I don't want to come by as like someone who's just like depressed or anything. I'm just saying it's
Nah,
just
you spit in like some real shit. I mean,
yeah. It's
arguably,
like it's a
like,
lot of hours. You know?
look, a lot of what we try to do here, at least, is talk about people's like actual live stories and shit. Like the reality is I think people have some misconceptions about what being in music is, and a lot of people that I talk to will describe a degree of struggle with this. Like people aren't as blatant as you because I think people are a little more not having, recent family obligations, and that shift makes people think a lot of things. Like I just did my taxes, looking at what I put in versus what I put out has me going, what am I really getting out of all of this? Like these are real thoughts that I think most artists actually have and very few people articulate.
Yeah. you know, it's like that's why I wear the mask. You know, it's like there's no trans. I'm very transparent because nobody knows my face, so I can say
Mm.
whatever I want to say. I don't want to put my face out because then I'd probably be like I would probably wouldn't be saying all these things. You know, because I don't want people to. You know, it's like I just want to share. I want to share the energy. You know, and it's like I just feel blessed to be able to have a platform like yours to talk on it. You know, like I just finished eating supper. You know, like I was supposed to do dishes. I just skipped the dishes duty, you know, and just come up here. My whole family's here today. My family came to see me. I got my family, my parents, and I have my wife's mother from France. She's here too, and we have the two kids with us. So the young 1 week year old kid and my other son.
Yo,
So it's
one
like
week.
lot of
That's
stuff going
fresh,
on.
fresh, eh? That's like
Yeah, 1 week, man, one
congratulations.
week old. Thanks a lot, man. So it's like I didn't get to do the dishes tonight, man.
That's totally fair, but even that, you still have that passion for it. Like you describe having it around and its purpose, but like my thoughts on all of that usually is we wouldn't be where we are without it. Like just imagine what your life would have been without that being your passion. Something
Yeah,
else
man.
would have been your passion, positive or
Man,
negative.
I already like to be honest with you, like I've already like broken my music machines. Like I've already been like on like weird moods, you know, and I remember I took my MPC and I just like jumped on it like 15 times, broke it all up, took my keyboard, broke it all up just to let go of the music obsession and everything that came with it, you know. 2 years later, bought a new MPC, bought a new keyboard.
Yeah, it's like that though. You can't give up
But
some of
now,
this shit.
yeah, now it's cool because now it's like I had to like I made like a deal with myself. So it's like there's some like there's a lot of like things that I negotiated with my own self that I had to do that I had to decide. So it's like the first thing I had to do was decide if I was going to become really good with the mixing aspect or not. So I decided not. But that's like a
Mm.
whole other fucking ball game, you know. It's like to learn how to mix master, like to be like a shadow. Like I decided I was not going to put anything on that because it's like it's too much time. You know what I'm saying? And
Actually,
the
yes.
other thing,
I very
yeah,
much
the
know
other
what
thing,
you're saying.
so now it's like I got blessed because now I send my Pro Tool stems out. Like I've been doing that for like a few years. I just send them out. So it's like somebody else. I'm blessed. Somebody else can touch them because like my skills are horrible, bro. Like I'm the caveman in the studio. You know, I'm all analog. You know, like I have my MPC, my racks, and everything. I like I just I just dump shit in Pro Tools. I know how to layer. That's all I know. That's all I do. Like I buy these, $200 kicks and snares. I just layer all my shit, everything, and then I just send it out. So I'm blessed, and that was the first big choice I had to do was like to give up on that element because it just driving me mad crazy.
Yeah, I totally get that. I actually really like what you're saying too, because like I think people see a dude like Russ or these like everybody like the one guy does everything thing, and they try to pursue it. Like it's just not worth it. Like I should never do graphic design. That was a big like every time I touched a design, my brand got worse. Like like there's just like you have to learn the lessons of your limitations of what you can do or not do, what you have to outsource and what you should pursue, because that way you don't get like you get less stress because it's stressing to do the shit you're bad at.
Yeah, and then that was my first big choice was exactly am I going to do if I keep on putting energy? And I was like, I'm going to do what I always like to do, just create loops, grooves, little ideas, and then after that, once I get with an artist, we choose them, and then I just pimp them. I send them to my father to get more keys. I'll lay, that's the stuff I like. I like the creation process. That's what I like. That's the only thing I like about it. All the rest I don't really like it. You know what I'm saying? And the other big choice I had to do was like I had to give up on social media because I was like, if I stay on social media, like I'll just become batshit crazy. So I was like, I had to like focus on just creating music, and that was it. So it's like and finding people like me who like to create, music, and that was it. So that right now my whole energy is just for that, because I don't have room for anything else. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I mean it's
Yeah,
interesting like that you got to that point, but so if I understand correctly, right? So we run it back. You were doing the DJ thing until you're like let's say 20s, early 20s ish thing, trying that out,
yeah.
university, and then you realize you're not the best at mixing with the DJ, and that sends you down the path of beat making, or are you still scratching at that point?
No, like at that point, like when I was DJing, the scratching was before the DJing. The
Right.
scratching was before I moved back to Montreal. Then when I went to Montreal, the scratching was replaced by the DJing. But the DJing was all fun because I used to just like drink beer all day and smoke weed and like DJ. It was just fun, but it was never like a mission. You know what I'm saying? It was
Right.
more like a young guy just having fun and with ladies and having fun and whatever. The producing came really later, man. Like the producing came. Like I produced a documentary when I was in university and we needed beats, so I was like, fuck it, I'll just record myself scratching and we'll use that as a
Hold up, you
soundtrack. So that was like
produced a
the first time.
documentary?
Yeah, it's called before it dropped. It was we followed four beatmakers from Montreal. It was Parafino, Twitch, Similac, and DJ Manifest.
Yeah,
We
that's
hit a few
wild.
festivals in the States. Yeah, we. So that was my first that was the first time I actually like made little beats. But it's
Hold on, you
like
followed
I
these DJs as they went on tour and shit?
yeah, not it was not necessarily on tour. We just followed them in Montreal for 6 months. It was me and my another guy that was in residence with me who was studying communication. He's a big time director now. I actually googled him the other day. He's doing big things. Yeah, like big things. And he was like a student with me in university, and he was in communications. I was in psychology, and we just used to like smoke weed all the time. And we like, hey, we want to do a documentary because I still had like I think I had like 4,000 left on my student loan. And I was like, let's just do it. Like I produced it. Like it cost me 4 stacks to do it. And we did a few festivals in the States, but nothing major. Like CBC didn't want to they didn't want to buy it, and it
So
was
when
a
you
great
say
experience.
festivals, you mean like to sell the documentary, like that, like circuit?
No, not even to sell it, just to screen
Okay,
it.
this,
Just like
right.
we just sent it to a few places, and it was like we got lucky. I think we did like two or three like screenings, and it was like small scale festivals. It wasn't anything major.
I mean, I'm
But
gonna
it was
say the fact that you produced a documentary on government money, legit, and got that put anywhere is one hella fucking cool accomplishment. Like that's like you deserve your flowers for real for pulling that off. That's like
yeah, thanks, man.
a
Yeah,
stat.
that dude made it big though. Like I think he's a director now for like a huge Canadian sitcom show. I
Mm,
forget what it's called, but it just blew my mind. But that guy, man, was always so passionate about movies. So it's like, these guys, people eventually they get their meals.
yeah.
Because like me, I had to do like I'm in and out of music. This guy stayed on like the director tip for like 15 years, like real hungry, starving, and like he did like videos for Pharoah Monch, and then he did a lot of videos. He started doing videos for rap artists in Toronto, and then
Mm.
like he got like a lot of meals. Like now, like he's good, he's set.
Yeah. I believe that most people who pursue their passions to that level will get what comes to them. I mean, that's why I pursue my passions. I just assume. But you know what's crazy is because if you pursue it long enough, you have to fight your ego. And once you fight your ego, you either win or lose. And in that moment, a lot's going to change. In my case, I deaded my ego, so I was able to accept the lessons that I needed to learn to elevate. And now the elevation's starting, so it's blessed. And I
Yeah, me,
find,
same thing. Me, it's like, oh, I'm sorry, I don't want to cut you off. Go
no,
ahead,
go
you
for
can
it
say
here.
something.
Honestly, it's cool.
Yeah, me, it's like the same thing. Me, it's like I release something, I'll put the 1,000 hours while I'm doing it, but it's like that's when I learn the most because I listen to the release like 1,000 times after, and then I take notes. I'm like, okay, like I fucked up on this, on
Uh,
this. I did this wrong. I should have done, and then I just keep those mental notes for the release after, and then I just apply that, and then I listen to the release, and I okay, now I'll listen in the whip, and I'll be like, okay, how come I didn't think about doing this, on this song? But it's like so trickery because there's like so many things, but it's like we're so lucky because I can listen to an Alchemist, album anytime I want. You can just buy it out. You can like these things can give you energy too, like in the sense that it could like broaden your your insight on music production. Like I can listen to a Jay Dilla album that he produced for like Common or something, and that can help me. I don't want to copy it, but it can help me like open my brain up to like oh, I can add like a sound on my snare on this snare, and like like all these tricks that you can just like we're blessed to have all these references. You know what I'm saying?
yeah, absolutely. I feel like
Yeah,
everyone steals in art. Like, we're not copying per se, but like everybody that's in art consumed art. So like all of our
yeah, yeah,
ideas
yeah.
come from something, but if you're really good with it, you consume so much art that you can hide who you're stealing from when you're stealing it, even from yourself sometimes. Like, I was watching Ninth Wonder videos today out of nowhere, and he was just talking about how much music he had to consume to get to the point where he can just hit up one of them little machines you use and push buttons and make the beat come to life. And I'm like, that's wild. But like, the one thing that I've heard from all of them is how vast, like how much music they have to consume. Like, you can't just listen to your genre. You got to be like digging in the crates for real to get to the point where you can kind of copy cool tricks here and there and not have it sound like you're biting a style. So like, it's like a cool thing. It's just you got to do it in such an abundance that you're not just jacking one style. That's how I
Yeah,
see that.
I think you're right. Like, because I do listen to a lot of music, but it's like me, like if I really want to jack a style, I can just always import a beat in Pro Tools, and I can copy I can actually like see the beat in Pro Tools, the
Mm.
instrumental, and I can like put my snare where the snare is, but I'll never do that. But that's just fucking mad. Like, I would never do that. That's just so boring.
Yeah, no.
Because to me, that's the jack move. And I don't want to do that because that doesn't stimulate me. But yeah, sure, you're right because when you listen to a lot of music, it influences you in your subconscious. It's like
Yo,
I listen to
hold
so
on
much
one
alchemist.
second. I gotta say shout out to Davey Man who just subscribed with Amazon Prime, which is money over here on the Twitch, and that's always an interruption moment.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely, man. Get that money, man.
But yeah, sorry, go on. You were just like kind of commenting on the multiple artist thing.
Yeah, because it's like you're right because like I listen to so much music, and when I was DJing, I was always scratching for like 6 years or whatever, and like the drums would I would listen to like I would have like the record playing at the break, and I would be scratching it, and I would just put the needle back to the beginning of the break, and I would scratch to it, so that kind of like it's like it's like it's crazy like just hearing these drums all the time, so it's like it kind of gives you like a bit of insight how to program drums and shit. But then again, it's not even that easy to program drums because like you can go on a on the site and you can buy drums that are already programmed, right? So it's like things got a bit easier, but I mean like to do like really crazy drum programming, it's
Yo,
still
'cause
it's still
your
complex.
drums on that, like I can see on that project because it's the one I listened to recently. I heard a bit. Basically, everything I heard from you is within the last couple of years. So I know I heard that one project back in the day, but I don't know if I even agree with my taste in music then. So it's kind of like the past for me. But like the drums on that project, bro, were like it's so good. It was too hot. I was like, these rhythms are so interesting. They're like completely on beat in a cool way, but abstract in a way that doesn't sound like other shit. And I really appreciated
Yeah,
that.
thanks a lot because I'm really confused with drums, to be honest with you. So it's like like I get like the initial the initial drums going, but then I always change them up, and sometimes it's good, sometimes it's bad. So it's hard to really know because sometimes like I can put like a whole afternoon on a song, and the artist is gonna be like, "Yo, you just fucked up the whole song. Like just put it as it was in the beginning." So it's like it's really hard to really like to master drums and shit because I'm still like I'm really still student mode, you know. So it's like I'm learning it as I'm doing it, you know. So it's like and plus me, like I don't know anything about mixing. I just layer shit. So it's like I know that when I know that when my music gets touched by like a serious engineer, it's gonna just change everything because it's like they'll probably just they'll probably just use my MIDI drums, you know, like they'll in the sense that they'll take out my kicks and they'll put their own kicks and all that shit, you know, like it's been done before, you know.
So in a
It's
sense,
the
like
idea.
you see it, like it kind of sounds like in a sense what you create is the skeleton, and like the way a ghostwriter would like lay a reference track down for the next mass to pick that up and land it right.
Yeah, every time I work with artists, it's all skeletons. Like I'll send like I'm working with artists, like I'll send like 30 loops, and like right now I'm really in EP mode, like just me and a rapper. So like I just want like 4 or 5 songs, you know.
Mm.
So I'll send like 30. Sometimes it's more, sometimes it's like 50, because sometimes they don't like what I send, you know. So and I'm real stupid, like I'll keep sending, like you know, and
Well, how is that real stupid?
no, in the sense that it's like instead of just me being smart and being like this product is just not meant to work, I'll just like keep on trying to make just to have the 5 beats, you know, like I'm just like obsessed like that, you know, like if I talk to an artist and we want 5 beats, like if he says the 30 beats are not good, I'm gonna send him more beats, you
Which to
know.
me sounds like how every producer I ever seen makes it. You got it's almost like you gotta be hungry like that. It just sounds
Yeah,
proper to me. Like I want to. I mean, it might be annoying to people, but everybody that wins in life is perceived as annoying to a lot of people, and that's a fact.
yeah, and the rappers do find me very annoying, I'm always very respectful. I don't talk down to people. Like I don't like humiliate people and stuff like that. That's not my because I hate it when people talk down to me, you know.
Right.
But it's like I'm very anal. I'm very hands-on, and I'm always trying to add shit. And people are like, stop adding shit. Like I do have a tendency to overproduce. So it's like sometimes I just like a lot of times these rappers are right. Sometimes they're wrong though, and I have to show them that it's like, yo, like you know what I did here, it sounds better, you know, but it's like it's just so hard, man, because it's like I think the biggest misconception is that it's very easy to make a song because it's like
Mm.
I think I think it's like to make like a memorable song. I think it's like hard because it's hard to know what a memorable song is. How do you like judge that? You know what I'm saying? It's like I feel like now these days there's so much music and there's so much really good music, but there's so much there's so much like music that's not too good, and it's like I did my fair share of that stuff in the past. So it's like I'm really trying to make memorable music now in the sense that people like it and it sounds different. So anyway, I don't even know what I'm saying anymore.
No, everything you're saying sounds proper. Like, I spend all of my time thinking about how to make a song people are gonna want to say the words to. I don't even know how you do it from a beat point of view. I got kind of lucky as a rapper. I just gotta go. Will somebody say this? Yes or no? It took me a very long time to have any judgment there, but I'm starting to figure out that part of it. And if you can say things with that people want to say, then you can actually communicate with your audience. But how do you do that as a beat maker? Fucked if I know. But then I watch these guitar motherfuckers. Like my boss is a guitar guy. He hears guitars the way I hear lyrics. Like so like through the music you can still talk to people, and I don't really know the answer to the question of how you would do it, but honestly, it's what do people respond to? Like a lot of people hate pop music, and it's confusing to me because that's what most people like, and they blame it on overexposure. But it's usually artists that cultivated fan bases that got picked up and pushed in this era. So we may not like young people music, but to be fair, we're at the age where we're not supposed to like young people music. But all of the music we like is still getting made in great abundance now, and so I just look at it like if you create shit that is like you have style. That's the one thing I remarked. Style is something people don't have. And if you can create style, you create something people want to emulate. And when you do that, you can really speak to
Thanks, I
people.
appreciate that. I try really hard to do that, and
Like I guess
you know
that's
what?
what it
When I
is. It's about having
Yeah.
style with your shit and then unapologetically doing it. Like even with your mask, everything about this, like yo, Beatahoe as a name, like you're a brand, you're a whole character. You should make a fucking comic book about yourself.
You know what you were talking about earlier about the songs and like me, just so everyone that listens and yourself, just so you know, I never get like I never interfere with like what rappers write and like stuff like that. That's like alien shit to me. Like I don't give a fuck about that. Like I know the people I work with are very good for me, so I'm set with that. You know, unless he sends me like something really whack, I might tell him like, "Yo, bro, you might maybe you should try this again." But I mean, I never get too like picky. Me, it's all about the beat. You know, it's like I'll be like, "Yo, like you do a little like 8 bar hook. Maybe I should add something on top of that to make it like separate from the verse. You know, stuff like that. You know."
Right.
Maybe we should add more claps here because like the drums starting to sound like really stale, you know, stuff like that, you know, always stuff like that. Because when I send beats, it's like I send skeletons, and that I like to build them as we're doing it, you know. But a
Yeah.
lot of people don't get that, so it's like it's sometimes you gotta like it's just a weird process when you're two people because it's like you don't necessarily like the guy you're working with, so it's like
Nah, I
it's like a
totally hear
weird
that a
thing.
lot. I've always had this like experience where I find final products, like, because I don't like a lot of people, and actually, I should say I used to not like a lot of people, but frankly, I'm kind of enjoying socializing these days, so I guess I like people now. But like, I didn't like people for the better part of my adult life, and that had me in, yo, it's transactional, like that beat's fire, let me get it. And then I was just always like, whatever the beat is in its current form, it's a challenge now, and I'll write to it. I don't actually care about the whatever it is. I'll find the structure. Like it doesn't matter. I'll figure it out and then roll it with it. So I never did the version where the song got produced in like that fashion that you're describing, but I always wanted to because it looks like how all the cool rappers used to do it back in the day. Like if there was anything from the classic days I'm envious of, it's that shit where you would have like a fucking RZA in a room with the rapper in the basement live producing like that shit. Like I've never done it. That I'm jealous of the old days. But like yeah, I think people don't know how to play nice with each other and they don't understand it because it's so transactional now. You just fucking cop the beat, cop the leads, cop to this. And the one time I did experience that shit though was when I was in a band for a quick minute and I was playing my little bass guitar and shit. And now it's four dudes in a room and like we wrote the song. I had to write the lyrics and shit to it. I did that one time with the band and it was like yo, you're one guy in a room of four fucking people, and y'all gotta use your relative skills to create a song out of literally nothing, because it's not like rap in that way, I guess. And so, yeah, I kind of get what you mean, but you're like playing it like a band. That's fucking actually really cool to me. All that to say.
Yeah, like I like to get like because like I think I like when I started making music, like I made so many wacky beats, man. Like you know like the like stuff that I hear and it makes me cringe. You know, it's like like how did I release this or how was I? It was my own fault. I'm not even gonna like say anything bad about the artist I was with. It's my own fault, my own production. So it's like that. It's like for me now, it's like I feel like if I do something it's like 1,000,000,000% or nothing. You know, it's like why you know if it's gonna if the energy is wrong, just don't release it. That was like a really big part for me too to understand. Like
Mm.
you gotta rate songs. You gotta like build a bunch of songs. And if there's some that you don't like, just erase them. You know, it's like who cares? You know, it's like you gotta really make something that's gonna like be magic. You know.
Yeah, I like that a
I
lot.
love
You're just
I love pop music too. I really like pop music. Like I listen to like old pop music and like the drums are crazy, man. Like the old Backstreet Boys and
oh
stuff like
my
that. The drums,
god, they're like next level with all their timing
yeah,
and fucking the
yeah.
drums are piercingly pop
Oh man, and
loud.
the drums are hard. If you listen to the drums, it's like hard, like sound, like snares. Yeah.
Hot shit.
And the drums always switch up. I don't know if you noticed, like they'll have like gaps, bridges, extra kicks, extra snare, like crazy programming. Like Michael Jackson too. Like you hear like the drums in the back like crazy drums, you know. It's like I always try to incorporate that when I make beats. 'Cause I always try to like do my best to make it sound and not the mix, but I mean like the ideas, you know, just like I soak all that shit in, you know.
Yeah, my favorite beats in the world are beats where they just don't repeat much in every four bars. Like, yeah, there's constants in it. Verses feel like verses, but if I always told my producers, well, the one guy I worked with that made beats, Only thing I really care about is you make it change a lot. Because if you make it change a lot, I'll change a lot, and I'll bounce off of that, and I'll be like more stimulated in that way. Um, ABBA was the illest track to sample. Comes from Davey, man. That's probably ill. ABBA probably has really hard beats if I'm really thinking about it from a production point. I never liked the vocals, but the music was pretty fire. Um,
I don't really know their music that much, but I know a few songs, and I thought it was really dope. It's like that's the woman, right? That
yeah,
sing.
like the Dancing
Yeah,
Queen
so I
and
love this whole music. Yeah,
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 no,
man, music is so much more powerful those days. I know it was like you can feel that woman's like like just the way she was sing was crazy. It was crazy music, crazy emotional music.
yeah.
I feel that.
It took me a long time to get into like that side of music, but overall, like I just think that to make songs people connect with, you have to tap into some culture. Like it's bigger than music. It's almost like the music is like it's a weird thing to say, but the music is let's say 50% of the battle of tapping into it. Like it has to be a hot product. You have to be mad skilled at what you do, but like to connect with the audience is the second part of that, right? To like get in the song to be like that ethereal classic. And that means the song has to have lore. Because if there's no lore, you don't
Yeah,
care. And every classic you've ever heard of has a story attached to it that makes it a classic. So it has to be
yeah,
a story.
that would be like my biggest like fantasy would be like to make like a really crazy pop record, but like something that I enjoy. Not I wouldn't just make it just to make it, like something that I like that I would like be in the studio and like participate. That would be the biggest treat for me because it's like just like programmed drums and like just to be with something like Shakira or something, make like something like
Mm.
of that nature that is so ill to me, like
Yo, imagine Kanye sampling Spice Girls. That's a fucking hot comment.
Kanye is crazy, man. Like I used to hate on Kanye, but I never really took the time to listen. But man, his production is crazy, man. Like off the wall. Like I love his beats, man. Like I love Kanye, man. I don't mind saying it, man. Even as a lyricist, I think he's so
Yo, he's
dope. Like
actually Kanye does exactly what the fuck I think you're supposed to do with music. He's actually recently a bigger influence than I realized, but if you listen to Kanye's music, he says some basic shit like "hi with a bunch of Y's" or whatever, like But yo, that's some shit. Like it's so regular, but it still communicates everything that's Kanye, and he's managed to take his complexity to the eighth grade reading level of the masses while not losing his complexity. And I don't think there are many artists in history who will ever achieve what he has been able to achieve.
yeah, no doubt, man. But yeah, man, his releases are so strong. It's like just so crazy.
But yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So as far as like where you're at, because I know you don't have that much time left, and I can get real caught up in tangents and shit. So you come back in a couple of years ago, and you're still pushing out your music. You end up getting a cool Keith feature at some point. I don't know how you pulled that one off, but yeah, how did you get the cool Keith feature actually?
Yeah, the Cool Keith feature was, it was just we just basically gave him money to rap over our stuff, So it was like that's just the way it went, it was during the COVID crisis, and I understand the people who do that, who throw money around, but it's like I don't do that, It's like that's not for me, But I was talking with Boxgus and it like the one I produced with him is 23 joints and I just asked him like what do you want to do for features and it was like I was like man because of the COVID maybe we can actually like buy a verse from somebody a lot cheaper because of COVID and it's like and I was like who would you like to work with the most and then he said Cool Keith and I was like man that's my favorite rapper of all time and I was like can we do this like I was like I don't know and then we just contacted him and he said yes it was just so funny.
It is
Yeah,
that
we got
easy,
like
eh?
we got that COVID price. Yeah, that really tore me down because I was like, wow, I could have done this like 8 years ago. I could have done like 6 years, just stole guys some money, and so it's like, but whatever. I pride myself in not doing that because it's like it's just too easy because I could just like chop up a loop and just like give somebody 5,000 and he'll rap over.
Yeah. Arguably that's what Nicholas Craven did, but he did it really well and it worked really well. And I'm not shitting on Nicholas Craven because he does a really great thing, but that's as I understand it what he did to great success for where he's at right now.
Yeah,
Uh,
I think what he did was he was just really smart. You know, like he think he just saw a window, and I think the smartest thing he did was like to invest in his brand, his money,
mm,
because that helps a lot. And but as far as like the production, I like drumless beats because like I like the verses on them. You know
right.
what I'm saying? Like it's really it's fun to listen to like the drumless shit, you know. But like to make it, nah, like that's nothing that you can do like a drumless album in a day. You know, you just have to find dope loops and you just loop them. You know, so I don't think it's
I
I don't
appreciate.
think it's like I don't think it's like skill. You know, I think it's more like research skills. You know, like finding like a gospel record and then just looping it, you know. But that to me is like it's not really I would never do that because first of all it's too boring, you know, like to just like loop something and just like not put anything on it. It's just really boring to me, so I would just not do that, you know. And I respect all those guys from the '70s too. So it's like I'd feel a bit cheesy writing my name produced by Beatahoe, but I didn't really do anything. I just bought a record and I just looped like a one bar off it, you know.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know enough about production to even get involved in that and not say some shit I might say stupid. What I can say is when I hear the man's ability to pick shit that it sounds fire, it is consistently fire. And I've heard a lot of people who are not consistently fire. And so for his ear, I really respect it. The same way like with the
Yeah, no
Vincent
doubt,
Price, I
no
really
doubt.
respect his ear. And even if that's the
Yeah.
skill, that's a hot skill. Because if you say a Holden flip a sample, bro, it would be a terrible sample flipping experience for every. Maybe I'd be good at it. I might be selling myself short. I've never done it. But you know what I mean? Like, I'm trying to say, I don't believe I could just hear a song and flip a sample and make it lit just like that. Knowing the right things to do is really the skill, you know?
Yeah, yeah. I think it's I think it's tricky because like my models are like Alchemist, RZA, stuff like that, and like these guys, LP,
Mm.
and like these guys they'll do a tiny every once in a while they'll do like a little like one bar loop, but like these guys like I wouldn't be surprised in their session that there's like 50 tracks, you know, like these guys always put the extra sauce, you know what I'm saying? And it's like to me, when you're doing the drumless thing, you're not putting any sauce at all. You're just finding loops in the song and you're just looping them. So it's like to me, it just doesn't like impress me as like let's say you would like
So,
do
can you just clarify what drumless means? I'm all like, say that I
yeah,
never
drumless is
Googled
like
it proper.
drumless is it's like you like do you see like I'm in the studio right now, like there's some records. You see the records?
Yeah.
Yeah, I have my MPC, I have my gear. You know? So it's like I would just take a record like that, and I wouldn't even add any drums or anything. I would just like loop the like a one bar loop, and I would just like find six one bar loops, and I would just put them all together. You know what I'm saying? So
So, drumless
that's what
means
it's
you're
about.
not adding additional drums.
No, you're just looping stuff. You know?
I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah,
I thought it meant an absence of drums at the first time I heard that shit, and it did confuse the
yeah,
fuck out of me when I heard percussion.
yeah. It's like because like if, let's say you go like to a beat battle, let's say okay, and then you would have like some guy making like this crazy synth beat or whatever, and then you'd have some guy just like playing a one bar loop. Like people would just be like, you know, what did you do? You know, it's like, what is that like something that you played? Is that something that did you do? Like, there's just nothing. It's just like but it's like that shit became really popular really fast. So he was really smart, you know, because it's just like life is all about windows. So it's like he became really skilled at making that one type of beat, and it's like that type of beat blew up, you know. So I think he was really smart, you know.
Mm.
But it's like me, like all the money I could have like sent to rap, I could have sent like $100,000 to rappers to rap over my beats, but I just kept it for me, you know, because I'm not gonna give it to some stranger, you know. I've done it before, but it's just not like I'd rather just like do it more organically, you know.
I don't know if there's a lot of organic in this game. That is one of those words that gets thrown around a lot, and I can tell you one thing. I've only had more success since I gave up looking for organic and I started trying to engineer opportunities that I wanted. Cause it's like, what is okay? My day job is organic social media. Like that's what I do is organic marketing for social media for my company. So that's basically organic means you don't put paid ads into it. So just in the concept of what organic means in the world of marketing and music and everything, it's like it's a
That's good. Yeah,
twisted
I
term.
hear you.
It's not free. It just means you're socially engineering instead of putting direct money into it. So like, yo, what's up, Scribble? So it's like to me, it's like a weird idea. So like organically, this could be our connection. It wasn't necessarily as organic. You engineered it. That could be perceived
Yeah.
as organic, but I look at it like you played it like a G.
Yeah, me like for what I mean by organic is that it's like bartering. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
It's like okay, I won't charge you for 5 beats. You won't charge me for 5 verses, and let's just try to make something that's really dope, and let's just split the cost. That to me is organic. That's what I mean by organic. You know,
I
it's
would
not like I
I would
make
use the word
a
communal for
project.
that, or like that would be a
Yeah,
word.
it's not like I make something and then it's like last minute I'm like, okay, so you want these? Okay, you're gonna send me $1,500 for these 10. You know, it's not like a snake kind of like environment. You know, it's just more like a let's just try our best to make something memorable
Right.
together. Yeah, that's what organic means to me. You know.
I appreciate that a lot. I think that's what people be trying to mean. Like to me, that's like that like communal aspect. Like I find a lot of my relationships are transactional entirely. Even if there's no money involved, it's just like nobody knows who I am. They know what I do. I know what they do, and we only congregate in places because of what we do. And there's not a lot of authenticity behind that shit, and it freaks me out a bit because there's so many people like that in my life, and so few people that give a shit beyond that. So it's like the one thing that I fucks with is that communal aspect where it's a collective of people pursuing goals together. That's the most appealing thing in the world to me. Is that?
That's it. And it's like that's how I always like even now, like I made all the beats for this project with California Ghost King. It's gonna come out this year.
Mm.
And it's like for me, those are the best ones because it's like they're just so like it's not like he owes me or I owe him, or it's not like a twisted like toxic thing. It's just like let's just do this beautiful music. And you know California Ghost King, right? That guy's incredible. Like
He's a great artist. I've never met him in real life, but I've talked to him on a Zoom once. And like in general, I think he's an incredible entity. Is a good way to put it because I never met him.
there you go. And me like it was just so crazy because like I made like this is gonna be the third project I made all the beats for.
Mm.
The first one I made all of them except for one beat, and the second one I made all of it. I made it all, and this one I made it all. And it's like the first one I made all the beats, and it was supposed to be for Don Lennon, and then he asked if he can have them.
Mm.
And the second one, I went to Montreal with my one of my samplers because I have a few like samplers, right? And I actually went to like a bar, but like without the music to drink coffee, and he actually brought the sampler in the restaurant bar and with the headphones, and he chose 12 beats that day. You know, he came up with the album title Pro Tools Cause Design. He came up with that as he was listening to my beats. You know, and so that's to me that's like the freshest shit
Is that
ever.
with
You
the
know, it's like
Pokemon song on it?
no, me it's the one that you reviewed, like
Okay, no, that's the right. Yes, I
Pro
remember.
Tools Cause Design. Yeah,
I've
it's like a really
listened
weird
to
one.
all of his projects and not recently, so fair.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I understand you probably just review a lot of music, so it's all good. But it's like it was a really dope project, you know. Like that guy, like all the artists that I work with are like I feel like are really special. So I just feel really blessed, you know.
no, he's definitely what I liked about him in general is this is he's well the whole sovereign music movement. So it's not really him to me. They're more of like a collective. They're everything I'm like saying. I think is really fire in the way that they operate and move because that shit's hard to find in life. So I find shit like that super appealing. But like they represent stuff, and you hear it in the music. It's like the skill. No offense to anybody, but the skill is less important to me. I don't really care how skilled a rapper is. I care about what they represent and how much I fucks with their message and artistry. And the artistry isn't necessarily who the best rapper. Arguably, all of our who the best rappers are still rapping. So it's like I don't know. Everybody's still in the game, like all of them except for the ones that are no longer with us. So it's like the best is a weird shit or how good you are. I don't know. But do I fuck with you and your brand and what your mission is? And I can say I really like what they do. They've done so many cool things that make me go, oh, fucks with the mission. And you listen to the music and it backed up. And yeah, it's super skilled. But there's an abundance of skill, but an underabundance of mission. So that's why that shit like stands out to me with what they do.
Yeah, same. I agree with you 100%. And like uh just like I feel like he's just very captivating when he raps, you know, and that to me is very special because you can hear the energy, you know. That's what I like, you know. I like it when shit stands out, you know. Yeah.
But yeah, no. So you're doing that project with California Ghost King, and then do you have stuff lined up after that, like that you have that you would want to plug or promote or anything like that? Because I know we've
Yeah,
only
man,
got a
I
few
have like
minutes left.
yeah, I have I actually just finished like a 7 joint EP with Clee McGore. He was signed under Necro a few years ago. You know who Necro is?
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's like more like a gangster, like you know. So I just finished that one. That one's crazy, man. Like my production on that is like so different. Like I feel like I'm always evolving with my sound. So it's like you wouldn't even be able to like you would listen to that and you would listen to something and you wouldn't even be able to tell that it's the same person, you know, because it's not because I'm good. It's just because I'm open minded and I try different things, you know, and I apply my knowledge to the different things
Mm.
and I work with the incredible artists. So it's like it helps, you know.
How do you meet them? Like
Oh
people.
man, it's all me. I have no social, so it's like it's all me or my cousin or whatever. Like I just ask them on social media, like hey, I just chop it up. I try to get them on the phone. I always try to show them the stuff I did before,
Mm.
and I tell them if you're interested, like like I'll do a project for you, you know, with you. So there's the one with the California Ghost King coming out this year, an EP. I think it's like 6 or 7 joints. There's one with Clee McGore coming out this year too, 7 joints. There's one with this guy called Darko the Super. Have you heard of him?
No.
Crazy American producer and rapper. He made an album for MF Grimm, who was MF Doom's best friend. I don't know if you recall MF Grimm.
Yeah, I know. Okay, so I know who he is because he keeps popping up, and he's got that legend of like recording a project and going back to jail. I believe it's that guy. Or I might be wrong
I don't think it's that guy.
because I have no idea who MF Grimm is. I could be wrong.
Crazy talented dude, yeah. And because the Darko the Super produced an album for MF Grimm,
Right.
so that was huge, you know, in the underground. And then I got another one with Low Key, which is like a disturbed negative rapper. I got another one with Box Guts, which is just like an incredible, like he's just like an artist paint rapper, you know, crazy Box Guts. And I got some other stuff with a Montreal rapper called Frenchy Blanco, and another one with Dice B. So I think it's like almost like 8 projects coming out this year. So this year is gonna be like my big abundance of a production. You know, like it's all stuff that's been done for like a year, 2 years that's just gonna come out this year. You know, to universal energy shit. You know.
No, I feel that. I'm glad that you did that. I
Yeah.
know I heard on the Chop Vision shit because I knew I had limited time, so I was gonna do a little homework. That you banged out a bunch of shit. Your dad laid down all the melodies. So if you want more context and some of that, you really should check out the Chop Vision episode with Beatahoe. See, a kill over there makes beats. He started geeking, and they did beat geek talk for a good part
Yeah.
of that. So you can get a lot of that side of the Beatahoe experience over there. But yeah, so it's cool that you kind of have put that Volta and you're at a point where you're gonna push it, and like for real, I think you should. I think you got a whole vibe. You could create a whole brand with the Masked Man. I know you're antisocial, but like you can still do content via proxy.
Thanks a lot, man. I really appreciate you having me on your platform. Thanks a lot, and I
Yeah,
wish you the best, man. Thanks for your time and energy, man.
I totally appreciate you coming through, and I appreciate everybody who came through to watch. Shout out Vincent Price who popped in at the end. Shout out everybody that's in the chat right now. Unfortunately, we do have the time life. He had a kid a week ago. A week ago. That's some wild shit right there. So congratulations once again. Shout out to all the people who are going to watch this in the future. Y'all are wonderful as well. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe, and all that good stuff you're supposed to do. And if you're in the audio version of this, he doesn't really have socials, so just Google Beatahoe, and like a lot of shit with his name on it is gonna come up, and it's just spelled the way it is in the title of this video. So appreciate everyone for real one more time, and yeah, it was a great to have you here. So yeah, I appreciate everybody that did come through again one more time. Thank you one last time, and yo, live long and prosper, everybody out there.
Yeah, yeah. I just want to say one last thing. My first beat I made for a rapper was for Chance One, and I saw you made a podcast with him, and I thought that was so funny. I think my first rapper beat was with that guy,
Travis Bryant.
Chance One.
Mm.
Oh, Big Caesar. Sorry, his name is Big
Oh,
Caesar now.
okay, right, yeah, him. I do know who you're talking
That
about now.
guy.
Amazing. All right,
All right,
man.
cool, man. So take it easy, man.
Peace.